Hey, good morning, folks. Dave Lawrence here once again, and I wanted to bring you a little bit more of my thoughts, my ideas, my opinions about the political landscape, which includes the right-wing Republican candidates for the presidential nomination, and of course Occupy Wall Street, maybe just Congress in general, and what lobbyists are doing up there in Congress. So. For starters, again, you all know that I support the Occupy Wall Street movement, and it is changing, and hopefully for the better. I mean, I think it probably doesn't hurt the movement much that the encampments have been taken down in some of the major cities, at least in New York and Oakland. And again, as I stated before, I don't believe that violence is a part of this movement or should be a part of this movement. Yeah, some bad things were done. As far as I know, no one died. It was mainly just defacing of property, and I believe in Oakland the police actually injured a protester, an American veteran. But beyond that, and again, I hope he's recovered well. But beyond that, I think a lot of people misunderstand what the Occupy Wall Street movement is about. You have a political candidate, Republican Newt Gingrich, who's a serious candidate, who, and I'm sure he's got some serious ideas, and he probably really does understand what Occupy Wall Street is about, but he wants to come off with trite little sayings of, tell those Occupy Wall Street protesters to go take a shower, get a bath, and get a job. And I mean, there is a lot in the Occupy Wall Street movement about, we need jobs. I mean, all you need to do is look at the unemployment rate and understand that Americans need jobs. Okay, and it's not folks that aren't willing to go to work. It's people that have lost jobs through no fault of their own. But again, still, with an unemployment rate at a little over 9%, you still have, at least 90% of Americans that are working and struggling to get by. So, we have to believe that the 99% of Occupy Wall Street does have a large contingent of hard-working, employed Americans, people that pay their bills, and people that intend to continue to pay their bills. They just need Washington to wake up and quit doing the business of the lobbyists and giving corporate entities, which the Supreme Court calls people, giving them huge breaks, giving them corporate welfare. Writing down their taxes, letting them write down expenses, and giving them huge gifts to search for oil, if you will, or to search for the next big thing that's gonna enrich their bank accounts, and again help them to put on more fundraisers for congressmen and so forth. So it's just a cycle here of more money, more fundraisers, going into the hands of the politicians. I saw a piece on 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago about insider trading, stock trading, trades made by congressmen and women. Nancy Pelosi was mentioned. Just to show you that I'm not just against right-wing Republicans. I'm against anybody that I think is corrupt, and it's probably a majority of Congress. So Nancy Pelosi, John Boehner, Eric Cantor, and numerous other folks, that, again, the rules that apply to Congress on making trades, stock exchange trades, making money, that the rules that apply to you and I, if we're going to go and make a stock trade, don't apply to the politicians. They get inside information because they're in touch with big business. They're in touch with lobbyists that want favors. So they get inside information. Congress and senators, they can trade on that information. So why should they live under a different set of laws and rules than you and I live under? Again, that's another point of the Occupy Wall Street movement that doesn't get a lot of press, if you will. But I'm glad that I saw that piece on 60 Minutes. I mean, I had a feeling back during the summer when they were trying to increase the debt limit, and there was a huge stalemate over getting it done. I'd heard that Eric Cantor was betting against U.S. securities. His stock portfolio was betting against something that I think the rest of us wanted to remain strong. Government-issued bonds, T-bills, treasuries. Eric Cantor's betting against those things, and yet in his negotiations to increase the debt limit, there's just a conflict there. He wasn't willing to give an inch on taxes, and again, we're talking about taxing the rich, a couple percentage points, taxing the corporations. Again, I know that our corporate tax rate here in America is higher than it is in let's say, Switzerland or Ireland, where a lot of our companies are hiding their money and setting up a dummy headquarters. And in some cases they really do have operations there, but for the most part, they're setting up something that looks like their head office in one of these other countries to pay less taxes. So, these companies are paying taxes, they're just not paying them here in America. So I think that we could reform the tax rate, the corporate tax rate, make it lower, but then again, eliminate the loopholes which allow huge corporations like ExxonMobil and GE to pay almost no taxes. Okay, they have to be held accountable, and we have to stop the fundraising that keeps folks in Congress that are supposedly there for public service. They're really in there to enrich themselves. I think if any of these people ran on a platform of I'm going to Congress to enrich myself personally, right now I have a gross or a net worth of whatever it might be. Most of these guys are millionaires before they go to Congress, but let's say I'm going to go to Congress and increase my wealth fivefold or tenfold, because I can do these insider trading stock deals, or I know that once I get out of Congress, I can go and lobby like Newt Gingrich has done. Even though he's not registered as a lobbyist, he sure enough is taking money from big pharmaceutical companies to see them get their way in Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act. So, Newt Gingrich was for the pharmaceutical companies, making bigger profits and having their say on the Affordable Care Act. And Newt Gingrich got paid big time money to help get that legislation done that way. Whether he's going to admit to it or not, sure he can skirt around the issue and say he wasn't registered as a lobbyist, but he sure as heck did the work as of a lobbyist. So don't get fooled again, folks. Don't believe that these rich people in Congress or these huge powerful corporations, these foundations, that they're looking to do the average Joe on the street, the working man. Don't fool yourself to believe that they're going to do us any favors. We have to strip them of their power by getting the huge money out of politics and having true public servants become elected officials in our government. So that's really what Occupy Wall Street is about, and that's really what our democracy is about. It's not about enrichment of the few and the powerful. It's about a government for and by all the people, and getting our country back on track. Taking care of our infrastructure, roads and bridges, as it's been said, which would create jobs for working Americans. About fighting just wars, rather than allowing a president to start up an unjust war and not pay for it, by lowering taxes. Come on, folks, get a grip. That's not real America. I think you know that if you just take a close look at it. So again, thank you for hearing me. Peace be with you. Bye for now.